Lag is your biggest source of leverage and is going to produce more than 2/3 of your club head speed in the golf swing. When you watch the best men and women in the world, and this was measured with men in a 6-iron, is that on average, they're going to move the club head between 22 and 26 miles an hour through their takeaway and through their backswing. And in transition, that club head is still moving 22 to 26 miles an hour. And then 3 feet prior to the golf ball, it's going to speed up to 96 miles an hour. That angle that you have down in front of your body, or a lot of you don't have in front of your body, is very precious for you to be able to transfer speed, but also be able to maintain control. If you make golf swings where you don't have that angle working down in front of your body, then what you're going to run into is that you actually have to start creating compensations. You have to start creating resistance. And resistance is what's going to slow the golf club down. If you don't create that sort of resistance, then you're going to hit the golf ball left of the planet or right of the planet. And I know a lot of you at home struggle with that already. Today, what you're going to do is you're going to go for a ride with me on a 3-piece drill that's going to help you start to learn the skill sets that you need to have in order to be able to create it, preserve it, and get rid of it. Because lag is only good to you if you know how to get rid of it. You want max control, but you want max speed, and you're going to get it here today. So strap on your seatbelts and let's get to work. So in step number 1, what we're going to learn here today is the most important skill set that you need to make sure that you come back to at any point during the drill, especially when we get to step number 3, to make sure that you can maintain this sort of suppleness in the wrists as you go forward in this process. And this is going to feel sloppy. It's going to feel wrong. It's going to feel like your wrists in your golf club are like a fish out of water. But this is a skill set that's going to get rebalanced as you go into step number 2 when we start really making this thing a real thing. So the first thing I want you to do is understand that this drill is designed for you to do with any golf club in your bag. I know a lot of you guys at home like to ask me, is this a drill that you can do with your driver? You can do this drill with your putter if you wanted to. Today I'm going to be doing the drill with a 6-iron, so I want you to grab whatever club out of your closet or out of your bag, and I want you to stand up and I want you to start working on the suppleness of the wrist first. And we're going to do this without any sort of big body movements. So we're going to stand with our feet very narrow, very almost close together here, or touching each other. And we're going to let the arms hang down freely, and the club is just kind of resting in our fingers. And what I want you to get comfortable with is, as your hands start to swing outside of your trail thigh, I want you to allow the club head to swing a long ways. And I want you to go ahead and then get the hands over to just outside the lead thigh, and I want you to let the club be able to swing back and forth. And I want you to do about 20 to 25 reps like this, where it kind of feels sloppy and out of control, where you're not trying to gain control of how much shaft lean or how much rate of closure you have in the club face. I just want you to feel what it's like to have very tight concentric circles with your wrists and let the club head travel almost like it feels like it's kind of hitting you in the temple. Don't let it hit you in the temple, but you know what I'm saying. If you can do 20 to 25 reps like that, then you're ready to graduate to step number 2, where things are going to get a lot more complex. So I want you to make sure that you understand that your wrists feeling supple and relaxed on both sides of the ball, and being able to move the club a long ways without your hands and your arms having to go a long ways is the ticket to your success when this is all said and done. Step number 2, this is where things are going to get a whole lot more complex. And I'm just going to save a lot of you at home that are getting ready to go down in the comments as we go through. This has got 2 pieces in it to tell me that there's too much to think about in order to make this come to light. At some point, you're going to have to take the Band-Aid off and you're going to have to learn how to move. I'm going to consolidate your thoughts down into stuff that I like to use with my students so that you can kind of see and feel what it is that we need to do in order to be able to create lag and preserve it. So this part of the process is now getting you to go from a static address position through your backswing into a delivery position. But we're going to be working on it for 20 reps where you start from address position and get into just your transitional phase here first, just so you can start to see what it's like to increase the angle from your change of direction in the golf swing. The number one mistake that I see that amateur golfers battle with when it comes to creating and preserving lag is that you try to do too much of it too early on. You start to set the wrists really early and you start the stretch shortening cycle through the wrists and the forearms, or you allow the wrists to get into this sort of overrun position at the top of the swing because that feels like the best way for you to see more angle down in front of you. Both of those scenarios are not going to lead to good things. You want to find kind of the middle of the road sort of approach when it comes to this. And one of the things that we do to kind of offset that sort of sloppy feeling that we just saw is we add in weight shift and body turn. And when you start to shift your weight and turn your body in the golf swing, what are your hands and your arms going to be doing in that same sort of context? Well, they're going to be staying fairly straight and fairly relaxed. So if I were to take that same sort of suppleness in the wrists and now start to add some weight shift and some body turn, then you can kind of see that, hey, that doesn't look so bad anymore. But what we have to do is get connected to the idea that the down cock that you're going to see is going to be a byproduct of us changing the direction of our body. So what we're going to do in this first step of step number 2 is we're going to think about our pressure moving to our trail ankle, turning and getting really wide as much as we possibly can. And as we kind of get through that 9 o'clock position, what we're going to do is we're going to shift all of our pressure back to our lead ankle and we're going to stop. And the focus point there should be allowing that trail arm to get really close to your rib cage. Remember, do me a big favor. If you're brand new to the channel and you have not yet subscribed, I know there's a lot of you that are watching the channel, head down below and take just a moment of your day. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on your bell notifications. And if you have any questions or comments, I love to talk golf swing. I love to be able to help you guys out. Please feel free to post that up below. And do us a big favor and hit that thumbs up button. Now, let's get back to work. Let's make it a great day. So let me show you how this works. So we're gonna go trail ankle 90%, turn really wide, 90% to my lead ankle and stop. Now, what you saw there was as I started to change the direction, the club wanted to increase its angle just a little bit there. But at that same time, my trail arm actually came into my rib cage there. That's the focus point, is I want you to feel the weight shift start to allow the wrist to start to create a little bit more angle there. And at that same time, I want you to feel like that trail arm comes into the rib cage and I just want you to stop. So it's trail ankle, lead ankle, arm to the rib cage, okay? So think about it just like that. So we're gonna go ahead and shift and turn, staying wide, lead ankle, arm to the rib cage. Shift, stay wide, arm to the rib cage as we're shifting to our lead side. We're gonna do 20 reps just like this. So you can see that the change of direction, that shift from my trail side to my lead side is increasing that angle. And now I look a whole lot more narrow and setting myself up to finish off step number 2 where we start to work down into delivery. Now, in step number 2, we're gonna do another 20 reps. And this is where we're gonna really know if we can sink or swim with this drill very quickly. The way that I like to think about this step is that, remember, after we start to make that shift over to our lead side, what is our body gonna be doing? Well, it's gonna be rotating open, right? It should be rotating from your left side obliques, and you should be driving that pressure down through your lead ankle. Now, what should be happening is that that trail arm, as it comes into your rib cage, is gonna get moved in front of your belt loop without really having to think about it. But we're gonna stop and we're gonna have that as a reference point here in just a minute to know how you did in the world of sequence. So it's gonna look like this. So we're gonna go trail ankle, nice and wide, lead ankle. I'm gonna start to rotate that hip back. And now look, see this position right here? Looks like a position you're all familiar with. It's a position that we're gonna let things fly in just a minute here. We need to get to that spot by staying wide, shifting our weight, and allowing those angles now to get moved down in front of us by that rotation of the body. And how you're gonna rotate it is just by thinking about left ankle, rotate your obliques, right elbow comes down in front of that belt loop. I want you to get really proficient with this step before we go into step number 3. So right ankle, stay wide, left ankle. Keeping those wrists nice and supple and relaxed at the end of that movement. Your checkpoints right there should be 90% of your weight to your lead ankle. Your hips should be open. The hands and arms should be down in front of your trail thigh, and you should see some angle there. If you follow this, a lot of you are going to be able to hit golf balls that will go somewhere between 75 and 80% of your normal distance, which is crazy. On a little small golf swing, you're going to start to feel what it's like to actually produce lag in the golf swing and be able to get rid of it. But the focus point that I'm going to add in here on step number 3 before I walk you through protocol is when I get down to that position, I'm just going to feel like my arms get really wide over to 3 o'clock, and I'm going to keep my head very still. So let me show you exactly how I want you to practice this now. So we're going to go ahead and start out with first step, getting the suppleness of the wrists. Okay. Then I'm going to go into step 2, part 1. Just getting that weight shift synced up with that little down cock. Okay, now I'm going to go to step 2, section 2. Okay, and this next rep, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just not going to stop. I'm going to get really wide. Okay, that felt really good. If that felt good, go in and try to hit a shot and see what happens. So I just hit that 166 yards on a golf swing that felt so incredibly relaxed. So I'm going to do a 1-to-1 ratio now. Oops, I hit my alignment stick. So go back through the entire protocol. So we want the wrist to feel really supple. Okay, we're taking that feel and now we're going to add the weight shift and the width back to it. Now we're adding the whole sequence. And now we're adding in the wide feeling to the lead side.